Hey everybody, and welcome back to the vlog. Today this video is gonna be two stories about our boy Roy DeMeo and Hollywood. And I know a great deal about both those subjects. Okay, let's first talk about Roy DeMeo and how Roy DeMeo, I know, is gonna be connected to Hollywood. And I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, there's a lot of YouTube. Let me tell you how I got the idea for creating this channel. I watched Sammy the Bull Gravano's channel, and I saw he was sitting down telling his stories. And nobody has better stories than him. No, I shouldn't say that. I don't know which one has more. Michael Franchise and Sammy the Bull Gravano are two unique individuals. Taking the mafia side away from them all, they are two extremely intelligent guys. Don't think that Sammy the Bull Gravano is any less intelligent than a Michael Franchise. Don't, because he is super smart. Both of these guys are far smarter than yours truly, but I'm just telling you. So anyway, I got the idea from watching Sammy the Bull Gravano channel. I said, wow, I got stories as good as that one. Then I watched Michael Franchise. Oh, I got a story even better than that one, better than that one. And when I say that, I mean it. And my stories are test proven by the fact that publishers and movie studios, 5 or 6 movie studios, paid millions of dollars thinking that my story is going to make a feature film, and millions. And we're going to be talking about that. But first, let's talk about, I'm getting all over the place. I don't know anytime I got 2 things to talk about. Okay, Roy DeMeo. Where all these other YouTubers, you got the 2 big ones, as far as I'm concerned, is Sammy the Bull Gravano and Franchise. They're the big ones. They just tell their stories. And they have great stories. But nobody has done on YouTube what yours truly has accomplished with the help of 2 dive teams. And this is where I'm going to connect Roy DeMeo and Hollywood. And then I'm going to tell you my Hollywood story, all about Hollywood and how it works. But first, let's talk about the Roy DeMeo story. All these other guys are telling stories about the 70s and the 80s, back then, what they did. And, I made headline news out so many times, it's not funny. I mean, I did. But that's what they were doing. Nobody has ever took a story from 1974, a half a century ago, and reincarnated it. Is that probably not the right word, but has brought it back to life. I did that with the help of these 2 dive teams. Actually, 3 dive teams, one in New Jersey, one in South Carolina, and one from Georgia. I did it. I told the story about Roy DeMeo and Joey Bricchini giving me his 1972 Lincoln Town Car so that I can dispose of it, telling me some bullshit story that it was a give up, an insurance fraud. And I'm going to throw it in the river, my favorite spot. I told them all about it, but I never told them where it was. So they give me the car, and you guys know the rest of the story, or you should. There's a video about it, so I don't want to go into great detail about it. So basically what I did was I was tricked into taking a car from South Jamaica to Long Island City under the 59th Street Bridge, threw the car in the water. Oh, on the way over there, I smelled the unmistakable odor of a decomposing body coming from the trunk. Oh, shit, I'm driving a corpse. That's what I did that night. I was driving a fucking corpse. Now I'm shitting in my pants the rest of the way, which was maybe 10, 15 minutes on the bandwidth going to Long Island City. I get nervous. I'm 20 years old at the time. I forget to roll down the windows. I forget to crack the doors. And I forgot to turn the lights out. And boy, did that one little mistake would pay off a half a century in the future. Nobody's got a story like this. Nobody. And then that brings me to my next little rant. How come I got less than 5,000 subscribers when people that are nobody, they're grave diggers, they're crazy people that got more viewers than me? How is that possible? I don't know. So I became popular, or my channel, the channel became popular after we discovered the car. Okay, so I digress. Let me go back. So anyway, I throw the car in the water and it don't sink. That fucking thing went down, the fucking tail went up, and that thing went like some kind of friggin' UFO. It lit up the whole water under the 59, it went to the 59th Street. It went under the 59th Street Bridge. It went 35 feet past the 59th Street Bridge, 80 feet from the rocky shore, and came to rest. Came back an hour later, I saw the car, the light's still on. So I always knew exactly where that car was. I even bought a submarine and flew from LA to New York and took my toy submarine and tried to find it, but it was no match for the current of the East River. And then I ran into the dive team and they came up and we recovered that car. We positively identified it by its steering wheel and dashboard. Unbelievable. And we even found a bone. That's what Roy DeMeo was famous for, chopping people up. So the story doesn't end there. The story doesn't end there. And then we found out who was in the trunk. Or at least I am 99.9% of who was in that trunk. And it was only but for the help of one of my viewers that said, I know who it is. Now, I did a thorough search with my friends in law enforcement to find out who went missing in 1974 that was in the mob and in New York. And of course, it came back only one person, 15-year-old kid from Long Island. That was it that went missing. So my viewer went to the next level and he checked New Jersey. And sure enough, Nicholas Mansucci who was a mob guy for the Genovese crime family, he was the highest earner at that time, making millions of dollars a month. He went missing, I think it was September 6th, 1974. So it had to be him. Then there was a bunch of other things that we found. It makes this story so incredible. And we're not done with it. The dive team that came up from Georgia and South Carolina only had 3 days to stay. Their sonar and LiDAR and all this other equipment that they had didn't find anything about the south side of the 59th Street Bridge, where I put plenty of cars in there. And so did Roy 2 days after I dropped that Lincoln in there. That's also, I did a video about this that you guys got to go back. But this time I didn't drive it. He drove it in. So no doubt there was a body in that 1972 Ford LTD. So when we went there for the first 2 days, the dive team was using their sonar that's always worked for them in the past. Well, maybe it didn't work for them and they went over other vehicles that was so submerged that the equipment couldn't pick up the 3D image. Because when it does, I'm a car guy. I could tell what car it was just by looking at the screen. And we went up and down for 2 days. We did the grid. These guys, and we're passing. I knew where the car was because I parked it there 50 years ago. I kept saying, let's just go right here, right here. And they wanted to do their thing, so they did. So now we're at the last day of the dive. And then they had to go to Philadelphia. The last day of the dive. And I'm starting to look like I'm full of shit. I felt like this. There was another dive team from New Jersey there, and they were looking at me like I'm full of shit. And then we saw this anomaly that was 19 feet long. It was the right length, it was the right width, and it was exactly where I told them it would be. So I said, this got to be it. Maybe it doesn't have a 3D, it's not making a 3D image on their machine. So they dived it and they found it and they pulled up the steering wheel and the lower dashboard that was exclusive to that year, make, and model car. Oh shit, that's it. And we even found a bump. And then, of course, we found out who we believed that was in the car. That came afterwards. And I did plenty of videos with Fran Mansucci, who is the daughter of Nicholas Mansucci. So let's talk about me in Hollywood now. And I'm going to draw the correlation. Now, if there's anybody that knows about a story that's going to make a movie, it's me. Because I had a half a dozen movie options. Let's talk about movie options. So back in 1992, I think it was, I got a book deal through my agent, Fifi Oscott of the Oscott Agency in Madison Avenue, Manhattan. She got me a book deal and a movie deal with Universal Pictures and Carolyn Graff Publishers right here. So bang, I got the movie deal and I got the book deal. Now, let's talk about movie options, because this is all going to go. Now, you got to stay with me, you guys that like to click off after 7 minutes, because you're not going to get the story until the end here, okay? And don't rush me. Don't rush me. I believe I said that. So, let me tell you, a lot of people will say, well, if your story was so great, how come they never made a movie about it? They only optioned it. How come? Must be something wrong there. So let me tell you guys about the movie making process when it comes to options. And then we're going to get back to the Roy DeMeo and how this is all going to tie in. I believe in the very, very near future. So option, this is what Hollywood does. They option my life rights. They option my book, which I am 50% owner of. And then for 18-month period. And for that 18-month period, they own it and they have the option to purchase it after they do the screenplay. So what they do is they hire a screenwriter. They give them the book. The first screenplay guy I got was through Dick Wolf, who was the producer of this movie that never was, and this guy Dale Hurd. So they flew Dale Hurd in from Beverly Hills to meet with me for a week, and I told him all about me. And of course, he was supposed to read the book and turn it into a screenplay. Well, I later found out that no screenwriter does that. That's why every time you've seen a movie that was a book, you know that they don't mirror one another. And that's what this guy did. So these screenwriters that get paid $500,000, and this is back in 1993. That's a lot of money today. I don't know what that 2 million. I don't know. So none of them want to copy a book into a screenplay. They want to get the credit of their story. They're creating this screenplay. It's supposed to be the only thing that they ever used on any of these screenplays was the title. None of them. None of those 6 stories, those 6 options I had over the years mirrored my life. None of them. And one of them was so bad, I went after the fucking producer. He depicted my mother as a drunk. This Rick Lick, that's his name. That's his name, Rick Lick. Fucking got a fucking name like that. So anyway, so the 18-month period that they own the property, well, I guess they rent it, and then if they like it, then they can buy it, is to give the screenplay writer enough time to write it. And there was a couple of options where it wasn't ready in the 18 months, so they had to re-option it. Ching, ching, I even got more money. So, you know, I was okay with, if you don't want, you know, I was okay. I was okay with it. So now, once they get the screenplay, then they give it to the executives. The executives all read the screenplay and they have a meeting and they start talking about it. And the one thing that hurt my story so much is there was not a movie that mirrored my story. Never. There was one movie in the 50s about an informant from New York. I forget what it was, the name of it, but you could Google that. But it really wasn't about my life story as a paid confidential informant, a cop without a badge. What the fuck I was. It was a job. It wasn't like I was out there snitching on people. It was a fucking job. It was just a job, just like a cop, except without a badge. So anyway, when they get the screenplay done, and all the executives, like a jury, they have a meeting on whether they're now going to green light it or pass on it. Green light it or pass on it. And since it was the type of story that they couldn't say, well, okay, another movie was done like this, and how did that do at the box office? Because it's all about money with these people. It's not nothing. No, it's all about money, 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 money with these guys. And nobody wants to greenlight a project that flops at the box office. And now let's talk about the contents of the script. Didn't mirror my life one bit. Out of the 6 movie options that went upstairs to movie studios like Paramount, you see this contract here? This is a $50 million theatrical feature film contract. This is for the rights, if you can see that. This is for something else I can't even see. You see this? You see this? All cop without a badge. And for all you doubting Thomas, this was the law firm that put the deal together. Okay? So I know a few things about a good story. And this is what this video is about. Some of my stories are incredible. I've always, and it usually isn't really about what I did, but the things that were thrown my way. Being at the wrong place at the right time for 30 years. I don't know. But I know the type of stories that gets the attention of Hollywood. Oh, shit, what? And when I tell you guys that when we and the dive team go back and we do a thorough search, because I don't know if I said this before. So it was at the last day of the dive. Now, diving in the East River, you can only do 45 minutes a day. It's called slack time, tide. That means the tide's not coming in or the tide's not going out, and that's only 45 minutes. If you get caught in that tide, you diver or not, it's going to sweep you. It's a very powerful tide under the 59th Street Bridge, Hellgate Bridge. It's very bad. So, and they located the car the last 15 minutes of the dive. So, and they had to go someplace, but we're coming back. We're going to go back. And like I said, now that we know who we strongly suspect was in that trunk, is going to be a movie. I've already contacted. I already contacted a reporter from CBS, and I want to get the media down there now. Now I believe that we have enough video of what happened on that day to get the press down. And once this goes in the mainstream media, Hollywood's going to hear about this. And I strongly believe, because I know based on doing this 6 times, having not 1, but 2 best-selling publishing books. Look, all of these people paid millions of dollars for my stories. All of them did. So there must be something to them. They were all vetted. They were all fact-checked by law firms to make sure that everything in that book that was verifiable was verified, because they're selling it as a true story, a biography. So I really believe that when we go back and the shit hits the fan, that there will be a movie about this Roy DeMeo and me in this one story. I mean, imagine it. Imagine what I just did on film that most of you probably have saw with locating the car with the dive team. Imagine that. Then imagine I find out who was in the car. And that guy was a big name. So we got a guy that's been, law enforcement says, killed 200 people. We got another guy who was a smart gangster and was making $2 million a week doing bookie shit in North Jersey for the Genovese crime family. We got the 2 big names, and me. I got some notoriety. I'm not saying I'm famous, but I got quite a bit of notoriety. I made the national headlines more than a dozen times. So I'm just letting you guys know that I'm willing to bet, I'll bet that this is gonna be a feature film. Not to mention, a couple of months ago, I had a meeting with a publishing company in the UK that wanted to do a book about all of this stuff. That's still up in the air right now. But again, I just feel stupid. I feel like, how can these YouTubers have more subscribers than me, have more people viewing their channel than me? How is that? How is that possible? Do know one thing though. When the movie, and I'm not saying I've been contacted by any producers or studios, but that could be too. But I'm keeping my mouth shut. I'm just saying, I'm gonna bet that when this does get announced to become a feature film, I'm just guessing then my numbers might go up. What do you think? Let's see. See you on the next one.